Hi everybody, welcome to Finding Gems from Bursa Malaysia website webinar brought to you by Bursa Malaysia and managed by LifeChamp. My name is Shen Chu. I'm the host for webinars today. So really thank you all of you for tuning in, spending your precious evening time to join us in this webinar Finding Gems from Bursa Malaysia website. So before we begin, just want to see whether you can hear me well, see our screen and see our webcam. If you can see all these three, see our slide, see our webcam, and also hear us, please type yes. And also let us know where you are tuning in from. Are you from KL, Penang, JB, or even from overseas like Singapore? Okay, let us know in the comment. All right. So many of you are responding. Okay, cool. So can hear us now. Huh? Wow, we have many from KL, even from Sabah. All right, thank you so much. Now Sabah is in the critical period. So yeah, take care to our friends here from Sabah. We are all with you. Okay. All right. So today this is a very overwhelming session where we have so many sign up for this session. So we might max out the capacity real soon. So okay, without further ado, let me just proceed. Now, Bursa Malaysia this year also commit to bringing you a series of webinars on stock market. So we have a series of 20 webinars in store for you. So stay tuned. If you want to join our Bursa webinars, just reserve your Monday evening 8:30. That is for English webinars, and for the Malay and the Chinese webinar, it will take place usually on the Wednesday evening 8:30 to 10 o'clock. All right. So for our stock market webinar, remember Monday and Wednesday. Monday is English session. Wednesday is the Chinese and the Malay session uh, until November. So almost every week we have two webinars for you for the stock market. Okay, so stay tuned and reserve your weekday evening for us. And this is Shane. I will share with you more about this webinar subsequently when you receive email from us. All right. So disclaimer for this webinar is whatever our speakers share is on for educational purpose only. In no way that we give any buy or sell signals from the stock market, so that if you do decide to buy any stock or you sell any stock, you do it at your own risk. Okay. Now, why do Bursa want to bring to you so many webinars? Because now recently we see that there are a lot of spike up in activities by the retail investors, and there are also there's also a surge in terms of guru in the market, and that's why Bursa Malaysia also in this interview to say that we must avoid herd mentality. So retail investors need to learn how to analyze the company, assess company's fundamentals before investing in the stock market. The last thing Bursa Malaysia wants you to do is, to gamble your money away in the stock market, which is, really by hearing tips, okay, people telling you this thing to buy, that thing to buy, then you're also asking around what is the good stock, and then you didn't really do your due diligence, and you join in the herd crowd, and then to join in all the tips and so on. So the reason this is education series is invented is just that we want to educate all investors to be more savvy, to be knowledgeable, so that you can avoid herd mentality and you'll be able to make independent judgment, so that you'll be able to create wealth, use the stock market as an avenue to create wealth and reach your financial goals, right? So this is very important. Now, today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce this speaker to you. Today, the topic is on finding gems on the Bursa Malaysia website. As you know, when it comes to investing, it is of paramount importance that we find wealth-making information from the company. And guess where we can find all this information? Okay, the most credible source of information is from the Bursa Malaysia website. Because in Bursa Malaysia website, all the information are officials. They are all released by the listed companies, So that's why today we're going to talk about where to find all this critical information from Bursa Malaysia website. This finding gems from Bursa Malaysia website. So allow me to introduce you our speaker today, who is already now on the line with us, Ian. So he is the content producer of kclau.com, which is probably the #1 financial blogger in Malaysia. He has written more than 100 articles on kclau.com. He's also a regular webinar host and presenter. Now, sometimes he also invites me to be on his show. So he's the co-founder of dividendvault.com, and then they manufactured competent dividend investor who can build dividend paying stock portfolios in Malaysia, Singapore, and Hong Kong independently. Now, he himself is a dividend investor, so he invests primarily for dividend income, averaging 4 to 8% in dividend yield per annum. Wow, that is fabulous. Okay, this is just dividend income. Haven't counted into his capital gain. All right, so today we are very happy and honored to have Ian with us today. Ian.
Yep.
All
Hello,
right,
everyone.
cool. So yeah, good to have you on our webinar tonight. So let me just make you a presenter.
Yeah, sure. I mean
Then
to say,
yes, over
let
to
me
you.
show my screen. Okay, so I believe that everyone is actually looking at my screen right now. So okay, so before I start, right, let me just appreciate what Shane has done for me. Thank you so much for introducing me, and it's always such a pleasure and such a privilege of mine to be here on this platform to actually share a little bit about my journey, a little bit about my experiences as a stock investor on this such prestigious platform like this. Okay, so today I've actually prepared a lot of material, so let's just get right into it lah. All right. So basically, so we are going to talk about how do we actually find gems of information that is made available in Bursa Malaysia website. Now, before I actually talk about step #1, just want to say something lah. Okay, as a stock investor, right? What I believe very strongly is this lah. Okay, there's so much of information, right, that is actually being contained inside Bursa Malaysia website. All right, but the problem is this lah. I'm not too sure how many people actually go into the Bursa Malaysia website and actually go and dig out all this information, because all this information, right, can be gems of wisdom, and to me I treasure them a lot. All right, I believe that these are actually information. If you know how to analyze them, if you know how to interpret them, then I'm very sure you can find some really, really valuable information, right, that can actually make you money in the stock market. Now, in order to find out, but with that said, right, there's so many information that is made available on Bursa Malaysia website, all kinds of information. All right. So the key thing here is this: we need to first understand, right, what is your investment objectives? Okay, what is your investment game plan first before you actually go and find information in Bursa Malaysia website? Why? Sorry, hold on. Right, excuse me for a while. Slight hay fever today. Sorry, Akshay. All right,
Yeah,
so
no
let's
problem.
continue. Yeah, yeah, slight hay fever today. All right, so let's continue. All right. So basically, for me, right, what is very important here is that you need to actually establish what is your investment game plan, what is your investment objective in the stock market. Simply because there are too many information, and you need to classify them. So if you don't have an investment objective or a game plan to actually invest in the stock market, right, the first thing to do is to establish one first. Because if, let's say, you don't establish what is your investment objective, then any kind of information, all right, any kind of information that is being presented to you, right, will be good information, because you do not know how to classify them, how to classify which one is important and which one is not exactly important. Okay, but here I cannot speak for everyone, simply because, right, there are so many different kinds of people in the stock market. All right, there may be investors, there may be traders, there may be gamblers and speculators. There are all kinds of people. They are trying to buy and sell shares in the stock market. Even I myself buy stocks very differently from Shane, and of course Shane will buy stocks very differently from me. All right, so now I'm just sharing. So in this platform, I'm just gonna share with you my own personal investment journey lah. All right, so here are my own personal investment objectives. You may follow, all right, but of course you may just, or you can just listen to this broadcast and just treat this as a reference. So here's my own personal investment objective. So as mentioned by Shane, all right, so personally, I'm a dividend investor, and my investment objective is very simple, okay, which is to invest in a stock that allows me to earn incremental dividend income from the stock. Meaning to say, I'm not here to do stock trading. I'm not here to try to find out ways to buy a single stock at $1 and sell it at $2 or $3 at the shortest period of time. For me, I'm the kind of person who likes to buy a stock, all right, hopefully at the lowest possible price. And with that stock, right, after I make that one transaction, I hope to actually continuously, I love to hold on to stocks for a very long period of time. All right, and I hope that I don't need to sell them lah. Simply because if I don't sell them and I hold them for a long period of time, I can actually continue to earn dividend income. And hopefully this dividend income will continue to grow over time. So which means to say, my style is that I like to buy a stock, maybe one time, one transaction, and then I like to like collect dividends like on a recurring basis for as long as possible lah. So some of the stocks that I have owned, right, I actually buy one time, and then after that I may be collecting dividends like again and again for the past many years lah. Probably I've actually collected from the same stock maybe 10 or 12 times already, 10, 11, 12 times the dividend payouts. So that is my kind of a game lah, that is my game, my investment game plan in the stock market. So it is very crucial for me to actually establish an investment objective. So that is my objective, which is to earn incremental dividend income. Now, once you have actually established your objective, and for me is to earn incremental dividend income, the next question to ask is this, all right? So for me, I will ask myself two key questions. So the first one is this. Number one, what kind of stocks will I buy? Okay. And number two, when should I buy them? Why? Simply because I want to hit my objective, which is to earn incremental dividend income. So I need to buy stocks that fulfill my criteria, that allows me to fulfill my objective, which is to buy stocks that pay me incremental dividend income. So that will actually sums up what kind of stocks I would want to buy. And the second one is that how do I actually increase my dividend yield? So that has a lot to do with when to buy. Now, with that said, right, let me just go through my slides with you so that you can actually see the blueprint of what kind of questions I ask and how do I actually assess the stock. So my investment objective is to earn incremental dividend income. So the question is this, like in Bursa Malaysia, right, I believe there are about 900 plus stocks listed on the stock market today. Okay, so out of these 900 stocks, not every single stock, right, will pay me incremental dividend income, all right, for the long term. So I need to have a filtering process to actually filter from 900 stocks, right, to the type of stocks that I want to buy. Okay, so how do I filter them? So what I have done is that, as you can see on the screen, basically I will actually sum up what stocks to buy with these 3 pointers, all right? And these 3 pointers, right, is so simple. It is to look at the stock's past track record, which is number 1. Number 2, which is look at its present financial strength. And number 3, which is to look at its future. So it's past, present, and future. So if I look at its past, present, and future, so what do I mean by this? Okay. Number 1, let's talk about the past. Okay. So for me, my objective is to earn incremental dividend income. So when I look at the past, right, what I will be looking at is this. I will be looking at the stock, whether or not it has been growing its profits consistently for the past 10 years. All right. So this is actually what I will be looking at. Why? Simply because if let's say a stock does not have a good track record of profits, it doesn't bring in profits or it doesn't grow its profits consistently for the past 10 years, then how is it able to actually continue to pay me dividend income again and again for the long term? All right, so I hope that it makes sense to you. So the first criteria that I will be looking at is to look at its past, which means I believe that if I can find a stock that has been growing its profits consistently for the past 10 years, it should have a higher degree of chance that it should be, there will be more chance lah, all right, more greater probability that it will continue to do so in the future. So that's why I look at its past track record, and I look at it for the past 10 years. Now, moving on. Sometimes people will say, yes, I also agree to a certain extent. Past record, right, doesn't actually mean that, let's say, for example, a stock is actually quite successful in the past. It doesn't mean that it will be successful in the future. So how do I actually look into this? So for me, I will look at its present, all right? So let's say it has a good track record of profits in the past. Then I will look at its present, whether or not the company, right, is financially strong, all right? So there are three reasons why I look into this. Number one, the reason why I look into this is, number one, if let's say a company, right, is financially strong, then it will have the capability to survive COVID-19, all right? Or it can survive any sort of political, economic, and pandemic crisis. So if the company has that kind of financial strength, then I'm actually quite okay with it lah. All right, that's my own point of view. And secondly, if let's say the company is financially strong, then it can actually do two things. Number one, it can obviously pay me dividends, which will fulfill my objective. And number two, it got the money or the financial resources to fund its growth plans. All right. And this one to me is also very important, because if it can fund its growth plans, that means you say the company has the ambition or has the drive to actually continue to increase its income. And when it increases its income or its profits, then from there it will actually pay me more dividend income, which also fulfills my objective. So this is why I also look into the company's present financial strength to find out whether or not this company has the ability to continue to pay me incremental dividends in the future. And of course, finally, number three, I will be looking into the company's future plans. So why this is very important? This is because I want to know, if let's say the company has the money to invest, where will it be investing its money? How will it grow into the future? So this is something that I will be looking into, because I'm also investing not just for its past track record, but also I'm actually putting or investing my money into this company for my own future. All right. That means to say the company's future is also my future of the income. So therefore, I will be more than happy to be interested to find out what is the future views, the plans to grow its businesses. So these are the informations that I'll be finding out, okay? And later I'll show you how to do that. That's question number one. Now, moving on to question number two. So just now, as you can see, question number one, it kind of like solved the problem of, it kind of solved the first question, which is what kind of stocks will I buy? The second question would be more, how would I say, it is actually related to when do I buy the stock, okay? Which means to say, when is the best time for me to actually grab onto these kind of stocks, okay? So in order to answer this question, right, personally, I will use three valuation ratios as shown on the screen right here. So I will be using PE ratio, PB ratio, and dividend yield to actually assess whether or not the company is cheap enough, whether or not the price is good enough, attractive enough for me to buy. All right. So that is actually my own perspective. So for those of you who are not too sure about what is PE ratio, PB ratio, and dividend yield, don't worry, later I will be doing a live demo, all right, very shortly. But let's say, for example, if you're new to these valuation ratios, let me just briefly go through them one by one. So if you're looking at PE ratio, right, which is price to earnings ratio, it is actually to compare the stock price, the price of a stock with its company earnings, all right? So that is PE ratio. For PB ratio, it is simply to compare the stock price with its equity. And of course, when it comes to dividend yield, which is my favorite, my own personal favorite valuation ratio, it is to compare the company's stock price with its dividend payouts, okay? So this is actually the three valuation ratios, all right, that I'll be looking into before I invest into a stock. Now, let's move on. Okay, so now we have step number one, which is to establish my objective. And step number two, I already established what kind of information that I want. All right. So the kind of information that I want is this. Number one, to find out what stocks to buy, I'll be looking at its past, present, and future. And secondly, when to buy, I'll be looking at its PE, PB, and dividend yield. So I need to find all this information. Now, where am I going to find this information? So step number 3, you can actually find all this information for free at Bursa Malaysia website. So why do I highly recommend Bursa Malaysia website? Or why do I recommend investors before buying into any stock, go into Bursa Malaysia website to find your information? Why not, you can go to any other stock market portals. You can go to any other places like social media or any financial dailies. You can read newspapers and magazines, or you can even go and find information when you are talking to your friends during during a yum cha session or a mamak session. But a lot of people, they may not go into Bursa Malaysia website. All right. So to me, as an investor, I believe that all of us should place greater importance in the Bursa Malaysia website than to look into that when it comes to our investment, than to go and uh, base our decision on any other secondary sources that I've just mentioned just now. This is primary. All right. So let's look into that. But of course, here I have actually highlighted to you why I highly recommend the Bursa Malaysia website. So here are some really good points that I personally put into the slides. Number one is that if you are actually investing your money, right, I believe we should actually base our information, all right, actual information on official sources, and the source of the information, right, must be highly credible. So if you want to talk about credibility, and if you want to talk about the most official, the most authentic sources, right, then you should go into the Bursa Malaysia website lah. All right, this is because it is the most official website that you can ever get for your investment. Number two, a lot of people, right, instead of going here, they make a lot of misinformed decisions lah. All right, misinformed means to say they get substandard quality kind of information simply because they are relying their investment decisions on tips, advices, and rumors or hearsays, right, from other places lah. All right, and these places may not be even official. They may be in forums, they may be in Yamcha sessions, they may be in Mama sessions, but these are not the primary source, the primary go-to places for information. But then because a lot of people rely on these places to invest in a stock, that's how a lot of people get into trouble lah. So what I'm saying is that what I'm advocating, instead of relying on this, go to Bursa Malaysia lah. You get the best, most prime standard kind of information over there. I go to the website every single day. Now let's move on. And with that, of course, it's time for me to actually give you a live demo. And I'm going to show you how exactly I find information in the Bursa Malaysia website. And today I'm going to give you a case study. And the case study, I have to pick a stock out of 900 stocks, right? So today my pick is actually LPI, Capital Berhad. All right, and let's get into it. So let's say, for example, you do not know where exactly to find information on Bursa Malaysia. So I'm going to just, of course, I already have the Bursa Malaysia, the icon over here. But nevertheless, let me just show you. Let me just go to the, let's say, for example, you do not know where to find information. I'm going to go straight into I'm going to go to the homepage of Bursa Malaysia first. So this is the homepage of Bursa Malaysia. And what I will do is that I will click onto company announcement, which is located at the top right corner of the homepage of Bursa Malaysia website. So click onto company announcement. Scroll down. And what you can see here is that you get a lot of search bars, a lot of filters over here. So the more important one for me, right, will be number one, the category, and number two, the company. So for the company, right, I have just mentioned that the case study for today will be LPI. So I'm going to just type in LPI. Okay, so this is my company. And now let's go through and let's go through all the informations that I really need to actually make a much more informed decision about LPI. Okay, so I'm going back to my own slides. So I'm going to answer question number one, which is what to buy. And the first thing I will look at is the past track record. And the kind of question that I would like to answer is this: did LPI grow its profits consistently for the past 10 years? So how do I find this kind of information? Well, the easiest way to actually find this kind of information, right, is to look at the company's annual report. All right, so this annual report, this LPI, you can just click on to search. And over here, you will be given annual reports of LPI Capital Berhad all the way to 2002. So you got a lot of information inside here, but we are going to just look into the latest annual report, which means you just click onto this and you should get the PDF file for all this, the PDF file of annual report 2019 of LPI. So let me just open the first part over here. Okay, so while it's loading, let me just give you a breakdown of LPI Capital Berhad. So LPI Capital Berhad, right? If let's say you haven't heard of this company before, maybe you have heard of Lompat. All right, so it's actually a general insurance company which is owned by Tan Sri Teng Hong Piao lah, or Tan Sri Teng Hong Piao is actually the major shareholder of this company. And for those of you who have heard of Tan Sri Teng Hong Piao, or this name rings the bell, right, is because he is actually also the major shareholder of Public Bank Berhad. Okay, which means the owner is the same. So Public Bank is his bank, LPI is actually the general insurance company that he owns. Okay, so over here, right, all you need to do is very simple. You just scroll down. All right, you get a lot of information. And for the start, right, what I will do is this. Maybe you want to take down notes. Okay, so for example, step 1, download the latest annual report. Step number 2, the first thing that I will go, if let's say you're that busy, you got no time to actually read everything, right? The first, and then you want to filter the company, the first thing that you can actually look at is financial highlights, all right, which is shown on the screen, financial highlights. So some companies will actually give you 5 years, but for LPI, it gives you 10 years, 10 years of group financial summary. And the financial summary is actually listed on the screen as above, okay? So let's see over here. So as you can see, we are given this operating results, which is the financial results of the company. And as you can see, LPI, if we start off with operating revenue, you can see that it has actually increased from 751.7 million. This is revenue sales in 2010. And it has actually achieved consistent increase in operating revenue, and it has hit 1.6 billion ringgit in operating revenue in 2019. All right, so sales has been growing for the past 10 years, which is okay, very good. And then the next one is this. We can actually look into 2010's profit attributable to owners of the company, which is 137.9 million in 2010, and it has increased all the way to 322.4 million. Okay, so as you can see, if you actually compare the figures, it kind of like actually also fulfill my objective, which is whether or not the company has achieved consistent growth in profitability. So in this case for LPI, I would say, if you look at the figures based on my own judgment, of course I would say, yeah lah, okay, I see that profits have been increasing. So therefore, this actually fulfilled the first criteria over here. Did it grow its profits consistently for the past 10 years? So for LPI, I would say the answer is yes. Very good. Okay. So now let's move on to the second one, which is the present, Okay. What I need to know is this. Does it have money to actually survive COVID-19? Does it have money to pay me dividends? Does it have money to actually fund its growth plans? Okay. So how do I find out the latest financial results of LPI? So with that, right, I'm going to go back to company announcement. All right. So as we are doing this webinar, right, it is now September. All right. As you can see, this financial result, right, is actually 2019. And I know that, and based on this annual report, right, we can see that the year ended, the financial result is based on year ended 31st December 2019. All right. So there's a time gap of 9 months from 31st December 2019 all the way up to 14 September, which is today, 2020. So how to find out the latest financial result? We go back to company announcement. And what you need to do is very simple. Just click onto financial results. So financial results are places where you get the latest quarterly reports of a company like LPI. So click onto financial results, click onto search, and you'll be given quarterly reports, many quarterly reports for eternity lah. I think all the way up to 2002. Of course, you can actually go and check it out, but I think that's not the main point of this particular webinar. So the main point here is to find out the present financial strength of LPI. So with that, let me just click on to quarterly report for consolidated results for the financial period ended 30th June 2020. Okay, so which means to say we are now looking at the financial results, financial strength of LPI on 30th June 2020. So there's an announcement, there's a press release. So click onto announcement. I'm going to open another tab. So it will actually present to you the latest financial results of LPI. So over here, as you can see, it's actually quarter results. So which means to say, if you look at the current year quarter, it says that LPI has made 77.4 million ringgit in the quarter from 1st April 2020 to 30th June 2020. So that's what it says. But in order to find out the present financial strength, you go to its balance sheet, which is right over here. So as you can see, for me, LPI, right, is actually very simple. All right. If you look at, so for me, it has about 4.11 billion in total assets. Total equity is 1.83. And for an insurance company, I don't see any borrowings over here. Most of the liabilities are insurance contract liabilities, so I think that's okay. So in essence, I believe that LPI is actually in a way financially doing okay, all right, based on the financial statement, simply because it has good enough, it has that much of total assets, and the amount of total assets is actually more than the total liabilities, so therefore it has a total equity of 1.83 lah, so which is not too bad. Now when it comes to cash, you can actually look at this cash flow statement, and you can see that at the end of the day, at the last line over here, which is cash and cash equivalents as at 30th June 2020, it has about $167.3 million in cash. Okay, so this to me is a company that has that is in a net cash position. So I think that's okay. All right. So this is actually how you actually look into how you find information and how you actually assess whether or not the company has the financial capabilities to actually survive COVID-19, to pay you dividends, and to fund you and to fund its own growth plans. Okay, so now the second information is done. And right now we are going to look into the third one, which is future. So the question is this: what is its future views? What is the plan to actually grow its business in the future? So over here, there are two places that you can actually find out this kind of information. So here's the trick, all right? I'm going to show you two tricks on how to find out the future outlook of a certain company. And you don't need to speculate, because these are information, right, that will be given by the management or the board of directors itself of the company. So the trick is this: number one, this kind of information, right, is actually inside the quarterly report. So all you need to do is just scroll down. Just scroll down like what I'm doing right now. So here they will give you some review of the group performance, all right, which tells you what is the contributing cost of their results. Why are they making $77.4 million in profits and stuff like that? So they will actually tell you the reasons behind it, the story. But more importantly, what you want to actually find out, what you want to actually look at when it comes to its company's future outlook, right, is to go to this place. As you can see here, it says current year prospects. This is often the place where you can tell what the company is actually looking at when it comes to, is there any plans for growth or not in the future? So this is actually the place, if let's say they have any plans of growing in the future, this is a place to actually find out if the company has any initiative to grow in the future. So over here, you can, so these are actually the places to actually read lah. So you can actually read about them. I won't actually go into this very detail because of course the webinar for today is to share with you where exactly to find information. So if you want to find out the company's growth plans, you can find out in its latest quarterly report, and you go and check out this one, which is either future prospects or current year prospects. So that is the first place you can find out the company's future growth plan. That's number one. Number two, you can actually look into its latest press release. Okay, so this is the press release official press release by LPI Berhad. Okay, so over here you can actually read the press release that is being provided officially by LPI itself, and of course you can also read about Tan Sri Tay's comments about LPI's performance, and you can also read about its future prospects, if any, from this particular press release. Okay, sometimes the company may not give you any sort of indication of what it will invest in the future. Then that is also another thing that you may want to consider. Okay, simply because if let's say a company doesn't have any sort of initiative to grow, right, then you have to take that into consideration, saying, oh, okay, the company is less communicative when it comes to investing in the future. All right, maybe you want to compare this stock with another stock which is more expressive when it comes to its growth plans. Okay, then from these two, you actually make a decision which one is actually more preferable for you. All right, so that's how you actually make you can actually make a more informed decision when it comes to before you actually invest in the stock market. Okay, so this is actually the second place to find out good information like this, where exactly what the company is actually, the company's management team, what they are looking at in the future, what are they trying to do, and how are they going to adapt into the future. So this is the second place to actually look at, to look for information when it comes to future growth, okay, which is to look at its press release. Okay, and make sure that before you actually, okay, here's a golden nugget for you guys. Before you actually invest into a stock, make sure that you have read all these things first, because a lot of people, right, they tend to only do research or do their homework on a certain stock, not before they buy the stock. Or they only do this research only after they buy the stock. So which is kind of like a bit too late, all right? So my suggestion is this, or what I personally would do is this: before you buy the stock, read every single thing that you possibly can about the stock to make an informed decision before buying into the stock. Don't read all the information only after you have bought the stock. Okay, that could be a little bit too late. All right. So that actually solved part one of the question, which is what to buy. So from here, what I can say is that LPI has actually, they have been quite successful when it comes to growing its profits consistently for the past 10 years. Financial strength is actually pretty much there. But when it comes to future, over here, what I can say is that the business has been a little bit soft due to COVID-19. All right, so this is what they have said. But other than that, based on the press release, all right, it doesn't say much about what it's going to do in the future, all right, especially when I look at its press release over here, and as well as its current prospects. Okay, it just says that LPI Group is poised to pursue growth and business opportunities, but what exactly it do, we may not know, All we know is that what it says here is this: it will focus on sustainable revenue streams, further strengthening its risk management capabilities, and intensifying prudent cost management measures. So what exactly that is for LPI to actually review to you, not me. Okay, so that is actually part one. Now, if let's say, for example, LPI is the stock that you want to buy, okay, so the question is this: at what price should we buy? All right, is all let me rephrase the question. Is today's price right, the right price to actually get into? So how do we know about this? Well, I'm gonna just open up a new tab. Let's go to Google Finance. All right. In fact, I shouldn't be opening up Google Finance like. We should actually go on second thought, right? Because I'm so used to looking at Google Finance, but we should be looking at Bursa Malaysia website. Simply because this is actually a session to actually talk about how to find information, right? How to find information on Bursa Malaysia website, right? So we can actually come here, and what you need to do is just click onto LPI. All right. So how do I get here? Okay, let me just explain. Go to the home page, click onto market information, click onto equities prices. This is a place to get the stock price of LPI. Click onto search. And there you see LPI, right? So over here, what we see is this, okay? We can see that this is actually the stock price, which is LPI, which is last done, 12.90, okay? So this is actually the stock price for LPI, which is 12.90, all right? And of course, if you look at Google Finance, let me cheat a bit, let me just double confirm, all right? So it is true. LPI Berhad is currently trading at 12.90, okay, which is exactly at the last done or current last traded price, which is 12.90. Okay, so this is 12.90. So I'm just going to put in, I'm going to just open. I've already opened up a spreadsheet like this. All right, and I'm just going to put in the price 12.90. Okay, 12.90. And I'm going to calculate. I'm going to answer this question: when to buy or at what price to buy. So I'm going to look at three valuation ratios, which is the PE ratio, the PB ratio, and the dividend yield. Okay, so let's look at the PE ratio. So we have PE ratio. All right, we have PE, we have PB, and then we have dividend yield. So the next question is, in order to calculate the EP, in order to calculate the PE ratio, I already got a P, which is 12.90, but I need to know what is the earnings per share of LPI. So where do I get this kind of information? Okay, so the fastest way to actually get this kind of information is to look at its annual report. And once again, over here, all right, it has been tabulated in this particular 10-year group financial summary as shown on the annual report, as shown on the screen. So what we can do is this. Can you see the per share bracket cent? All right, so this is a place where you can get basic earnings per share, all right, where it says 80.9 cents. Okay, so we are going to just quickly take this figure and put it in. So the earnings per share, let me just insert more rows over here. So earnings per share is 80.9 cents. So we're going to just put it as it is, 80.9 cents. So if you want to calculate its PE ratio, what you need to do is just take the stock price, which is C2, divided by C4, and you will get the PE ratio, which is at 15.95. Okay, so which means to say, if you want to invest in LPI, right, you are actually paying 15 ringgit and 95 cents. All right, you're investing about 16 ringgit to buy LPI. That is for every single ringgit that it earns to shareholders. So that is what it means, PE ratio. Okay, and now let's look at PB ratio. So with that, we are going to look at to its book value. Now its book value, right? Sometimes we use book value, but sometimes we also use net assets per share. So in this case, what we see here is that, so this is on the percent basis. So what it says here is that LPI, right, the net tangible asset is actually 492.34 cents, or you can say it's 4 ringgit and 92 cents. So what you can do is that we can take 492 and we 4.9234, and then we just put it into our spreadsheet. And if you want to calculate its PB ratio, it's very simple. You just need to take its stock price, which is C2, and then you divide it with C5. So what you'll get is a PB ratio of 2.62. All right. And last but not least, we can actually take its dividend yield. We can actually calculate its dividend yield by first looking at what is actually the dividends per share of the company. So in order to find out the latest dividends per share of the company, just go back to its annual report. And then as you can see over here, it says net dividend per share, which is 70 cents. So what you do is that you take 70 cents. So this is 70 cents. Okay. Okay, so how do we actually calculate dividend yield? It's very simple. We just take dividends per share, which is C6. We divide it by C2. And then we click the percentage icon above, and there you go. So what we can say here is that at the price of 12.90, right? If let's say LPI is going to pay you 70 cents in dividends per share, and that 70 cents is actually the dividends per share paid in 2019, you can say that its dividend yields, or you can actually expect a dividend yield of 5.43% lah. Okay, so that is what as an investor, that is what I will personally be expecting. Okay, so this is actually how you calculate valuation ratios, and then from there, after you have calculated, then you can actually decide for yourself whether or not PE ratio 15.95, PB ratio of 2.62, and finally a dividend yield of 5.43%, right? Is it attractive to you or not? Okay, because this one I wouldn't know, because some of you may say 5.43 is okay, all right, you can accept it, then I'm very sure that LPI will be in your watch list. But what if let's say you want something which is more than 6%, then of course LPI will not be in your watch list lah, because 5.43 is below your 6% target when it comes to your dividend yield. So what I'm saying is that this is the formula to calculate PE, PB, and dividend yield. But your own but then do they actually fulfill your preference? That one is actually up to individual lah, all right, to decide for yourself. Okay, so this is actually a very basic way of how you can actually use the information that is being provided on Bursa Malaysia to actually invest in the stock market lah, all right. So of course there are a lot more for you to actually find out, a lot more to actually explore when it comes to Bursa Malaysia website. And but to me, right, these are the few tips, or these are the few places that I always go to. In fact, I almost go into it on a daily basis to actually read all this kind of information and to find out all this information. And these are information that have guided me as an investor to actually invest profitably and confidently in the stock market. So let me just quickly do a recap, okay, on where exactly I actually find all this information. Number one, if you want to answer the question like how to actually get the latest financial information, how do you actually get the past track record when it comes to its financial results of a specific stock? The first place you can actually go to is the financial highlights, all right? But if you want something which is a little bit more detailed than the financial highlights, then obviously you need to actually go into the financial statements of the website, financial statements of the company, all right? So if you want something a little bit more detailed, right, what you need to do is that you can actually, I'm going to open up I'm going to open up everything lah, all right? So this is part 2 and this is part 3. If you want to find out something which is even more detailed about the company, right, you have to actually open up everything, all the PDF files of this LPI, the annual report. So this is part 1. This is part 2. If you also want to know what is the future of the company, you can also look at letter from the chairman or chairman's letter, read them, all right, because it contains a wealth of information on why the company actually performed that way and what is going to expect or what is its future initiatives to grow its business into the future. So you may want to read in a few things, chairman statements, and as well as management discussion and analysis. So these are places that I find a lot of information. But if you want to have something which is even more detailed when it comes to its financial statements, what you need to do is just go down, scroll down, all right. Usually the actual financial statement, right, comes after the director's report. So you may want to actually read through the statement of financial position, the statement of profit and or loss, and as well as the statement of cash flows. So these are the three statements, and these are actually reported in great detail. So if you want to know the detailed account of the financial statement, you may want to actually look into the financial report of the company. And these financial reports, right, are usually at the center of every single annual report of every single company lah. All right, usually it's actually at the halfway point of an annual report. But of course, if you want something even more detailed, then you just need to read the notes of the financial report. Okay, so this is actually where you get a wealth of information from Bursa Malaysia website. All right, so once you have done that, right, so that's the first part. The present financial statement, you can either find out and you can actually find out from the company's latest annual report, or more importantly, you can actually go to the latest quarterly report to find out the latest financial results of the company. The future, you can just read press release or you just find out the current year prospects, all right, from the quarterly report. So these are actually places you can find out good information. Then finally, you can actually calculate PE, PB, and dividend yield based on the demonstration that I have actually just presented to you. So with that, I think I have ended my presentation. Of course, there's a lot more to actually discover, but I think for this session, right, I just want to give the floor to all of you guys lah. All right.
Thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in to the sessions today. So thank you, Ian, for spending your time with us this evening. So for all of you here, please, I will see you next time in our webinar brought to you by Bursa Malaysia and managed by LiveChamp. So this is Shen Chu signing off. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.